The road to the NASCAR Cup Championship begins right now.
43 road warriors are getting ready. Ready to ride a long, tough road, full of obstacles, highs and lows. But with every mile, the goal becomes more in focus. The championship. The Nextel Cup Championship. 1 year ago, the pursuit of points became paramount, where just 10 drivers would advance to the next level. NASCAR became the survival of top 10 fittest.
NASCAR's Road Warriors.
Now, in this year of 2005, the super speedways all over the land are again ruled by the ruthless road warriors. Solitary soldiers made of steely insides, all simply seeking points, a perpetual points pursuit. Thousands and thousands of people will witness the beginning of the chase for points, in this place where daring drivers once raced on the sandy surface of legendary Daytona Beach. Horsepower drives these road warriors menacing machines in this story of 1 versus 42.
NASCAR's Road Warriors.
From today until the end of the year-long campaign all across America, there will be crashes, injuries, ups and downs, but when you hear those engines roar,
Gentlemen, start your engines!
the long, hard road to the Nextel Cup Championship begins, and the first stop, by the way, will allow one of these road warriors to call themselves the champion of the great American race.
I'm on the Daytona 500. I'm on the Daytona 500.
Today, it's 1 versus 42.
The road to the championship begins next on Fox.
It's opening day and the Super Bowl all rolled into one. It's the Great American Race, the Daytona 500 on Fox. Will Jeff Gordon win his third, or maybe his teammate Jimmy Johnson capture his first? And how about Russ?
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports. From the action-adventure film Sahara, opening April 8th in theaters everywhere, actor Matthew McConaughey.
All right, all right, all right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Jeff Gordon, 2 times a Daytona 500 champion, and Scott Wimmer, who was 3rd last year. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Mike, earlier this week, Jeff Gordon told me today he's on a drive for 5, not a 5th Nextel Cup Series championship, but he wants to get owner Rick Hendrick his 5th Daytona 500 victory as a car owner. His team began building this very race car 6.5 months ago. Hundreds of hours have gone into this race car, several trips to the wind tunnel, all in winning this race. This car they hope to leave here to put in Daytona, USA, and leave here also with a lot of momentum going for that 5th championship. But today, it's all about winning the Great American Race. To Jeannie Zelasco.
Daryl, months of planning, massaging, and preparation. It all comes down to this. We're ready to go.
DW, I've been waiting for several months, several weeks. Reach up there, pull them belts tight one more time. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Didn't take long for things to get 3 wide, did it?
No, it did not. Michael Waltrip in the 15 car. He's been smiling about that race car all week long. And right now, these guys, 36 races, someone would like to get those 5 bonus points toward the championship here on this first lap, for leading that lap.
Jumping out in the middle is how you go from 3rd to no telling where, because it's hard to get that sucker. That's a sucker hole. It feels like you're going to go somewhere there, but early in the race when they're lined up like this, that's probably not the best move.
Turning off into turn 3, Tony gave Michael quite a shot to catapult him off into turn 3.
Wimmer closed the door, got in behind Michael, and left Tony hanging.
You see our Fox tracks with Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. We talked about racing this close at 190, 191 miles per hour. All day long, you'll hear us talking about 3 wide, 4 wide. The racetrack's plenty wide enough for that, but we'll get excited because you know what?
That's where he can make proper adjustments during pit stops. Crew couldn't hear Junior, so they have changed channels. They're now on the backup channel, and everybody can hear everybody just fine.
We've talked about teammates hooking up. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, there on the inside, have found each other and now can try to work together to get to the front.
That's what teammates are all about. The other thing is, you heard them talking about Junior couldn't hear, they can't hear Junior. That's not so bad. The main thing is if he can hear that spotter and he can hear the crew chief. He doesn't necessarily have to be able to talk to them as long as he can hear them.
To vote, text the word crew to 191 on your Singular wireless phone or go to foxsports.com. You'll be entered to win your own Singular number 31. What's more important today, handling or horsepower?
Tire change for Michael Waltrip. He said that the car was just way too loose up on the high side, especially in the middle.
We need to mention Joe Nemechek in the 01 car. He got back on the lead lap. He received the free pass, which is a thing that NASCAR does. Once they freeze the field under caution, whoever's the closest car to the leader a lap down, he gets back on the lead lap when a caution comes out.
30 laps, 75 miles complete. You got your high-def TV, you got your surround sound Dolby. Just crank it up. All right. Jeff Gordon has been trying everything he knows to get to the front of the pack, and he may have found a way.
And one thing these guys would like to do, they would like to get somewhat single file, because the thing about it, we're only about 5 to 8 laps away from what would be a green flag pit stop. And remember, they're out there running over 190 miles per hour. Pit road speed is 55 miles per hour, and you need to be single file. You don't want to cost yourself a bunch of time by getting all gathered up coming on the pit road and maybe even getting a problem.
Jeff Gordon of the DuPont number 24, two-time 500 winner, 4-time Cup champion. He is fighting his way up to third as the deal-making begins up and down pit road. You're watching the Daytona 500 on Fox.
I think Michael started on pit road, and I'm not so sure that they didn't get some kind of a transmission from the 24 group that maybe they were going to stay out another lap.
Mayfield's in along with Nemechek, pole sitter Dale Jarrett,
Coming in lap.
John Andretti, Carl Edwards.
With us. 24, 48, 12 are the first three behind you.
Casey Mears is in, Hamilton, and Boris said.
And we've been talking about this, Darrell. This is such a challenge for these drivers. You've been out there for 35 laps at over 190 miles per hour. You want to get as much as you can get on the pit road, but you have to be the pit road speed 55 miles per hour at the entrance.
Pit road speed timed electronically rather than by stopwatch as in past years. So by the time they get to those cones, they've got to be wound down, and here come most of the leaders.
Looks like about 12, 14, 15 cars in the lead 2 packs.
Jeannie?
The 24 car, Jeff Gordon, very solid stop by the 24 crew. Gordon said his car started in the loose side, meaning the back end wanted to come around, and then it started to slowly progress to the tight side as the fuel load burned off. No major adjustment for Gordon as well.
But the speeding police have a couple of victims. Sterling Marlin, Dave Blaney, Elliott Sadler. So they have to come down pit lane at 55 miles an hour while everybody else is out there doing a $1.85.
No cheeseburger either.
I think about everyone has been to pit, and they'll be able to hopefully stay together.
So after the first round of green flag pit stops today, 64 laps are completed. Jeff Gordon the leader, Tony Stewart and Michael Waltrip, who led before pit stops, they got a good stop. They're third. Ryan Newman fourth as the leading Dodge. Jeff Burton Chevrolet rounds out the top 5.
Ryan Newman and Jeff Burnett. Rusty Wallace trying to win that elusive Daytona 500 in his last ride, up to 6th currently. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
You know, in the contact with Burton and Dale Jr., Jeff Burton wasn't supposed to be down underneath Dale Jr. like that. He's supposed to stay out until he gets to his pit box and then turn in. He was trying to get under Jr.
But Burton came out of the pits in 5th. Ryan Newman, the number 12, is 4th. The last car in that lead draft, Jeff Gordon, 2-time winner of this race. Tony Stewart, who has yet to win it. Michael Waltrip, a 2-time winner. And Ryan Newman, who wins the pole, an incredible 1 out of every 5 times they run for the pole. The Rocket is fastest.
I just got a good feeling about him this year. I tell you, he's been so fast. That car's so good. I think he's matured as a driver. I think they're thinking big picture. I think he's going to have a great year.
Here's Steve to update some pit stops for us.
Yeah, Mike, Tony Stewart on his previous pit stop, he took just 2 tires. This time, they put on 4 because the condition that he described as tight had gotten a little bit worse. They had a great pit stop.
The company is losing about 4 or 5 tenths a lap to these first 4 up here.
With everyone who got on and off pit road without breaking the law.
Well, you know what they say, misery loves company, and that's definitely true in this race.
And Darrell, I almost get a feeling that our 4 leaders right here, starting with Jeff Gordon in the 24 all the way back through Ryan Newman in the 12, they're pretty content to run single file out there, because we've been talking all during the broadcast, when you're single file with 4 cars, that's the quickest lap times you're going to turn, and they'd love to stay that way to continue to put distance on that group led by Jeff Burton in the 31.
And they're trying to line back up and keep going.
Waltrip up to 3rd. Ryan Newman drops down to 4th from the Hollywood Hotel, continuing this Visa race break. Joe Nemechek, a guy who was so hot and bothered on Thursday after the Harvick incident with Jimmy Johnson in a backup car, has worked his way back up toward the front. Only 3 times in Daytona 500 history has a driver won with a backup car.
No, right now they made a really good adjustment so far on this car. They've been working their way back toward the front. He's all the way back up to 11th right now. But another guy that we talked about early on, Dale Jarrett, it looked like he was going to be in trouble early on. And again, this team has made a lot of work on this race car. Got him back up to the 15th position, so good rebound by him.
6 drivers in their first Daytona 500 ever, including Martin Truex Jr., the Busch champion of last year. He started 10th. Let's check in on him. He's up to 6th currently.
The front 4 have a 6-second breakaway on the second pack right now.
And I've been watching Ryan Newman's car, and as he goes by, I can see the right side of it. He visibly has a lot of damage to the right side of that race car. A little bit.
So there's a pack of 4, then there's a group of 10, then another group of about 12, and way back.
For this group right here, we talked earlier, it was going to take a caution, and especially see that red car right up in front of the leaders, the 19 car. He was about to go a lap down. Jeremy Mayfield, remember, he was one of the teams that was caught speeding on pit road. Huge break for this group.
Elliott Sadler's well too. Larry, I think he's going to get the lucky dog.
Free pass.
The starter reports debris in the tri-oval near start finish, and there's also debris on the racetrack out in the area of turn 3. So that puts us under caution for the 3rd time today. Indeed, Elliott Sadler, the first car 1 lap down, will get the free pass on this caution flag. Matt?
Mike, what took place between the trading of paint with Ryan?
Very close to that next green flag pit stop.
Now this brings 28 drivers right back up in touch with the leaders, and I think some of them in the back, Larry, will see gamble with 2 tires to get track position.
I don't know, Mike, it's been so long since that last pit stop. I think with what we've seen, the 2 tires on long runs, I think this will be a good time. We're almost halfway to get those 4 tires. Dick Berger.
Well, Jeff Burton just got congratulated by his crew chief, Kevin Hamlin, for not getting caught speeding.
Jeff Gordon in the last stop, his car started out loose, then went tight. They didn't make any adjustments. They're talking about a chassis because he's already down the way. A big battle off Pier Road as Tony Stewart will beat everybody.
who is spinning in front of him, doesn't block him in. Look at that.
On the bottom of your screen, Jeff Gordon makes a 4-tire change. Meanwhile, Michael Waltrip, his car was on the free side. He felt like the 24 of Gordon. As he's going to get beat off pit road, he felt like the 24 of Gordon was running over him almost, entering the corners, making him loose. They went down on the track bar to try to tighten him up. And the problem is the 24 of Gordon keeps sizing Michael up. Michael knows one small mistake, if he goes right, Gordon will go left and vice versa. In fact, Gordon has been laying back off of 2 for several laps, making huge runs, sizing him up for later in the race.
You know, Larry, it's 4:25 in the afternoon, and I'm sure the track temp. And the other thing I'm sensing is that 24 car is wanting to get by the 15 of Michael. He's trying real hard.
Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon says his car is tight right now in traffic. If he was out front, the car would be perfect.
Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, and Kurt Busch making green flag pit stops. We're now into the second lap of those at lap 137. Meaning at least one more round of pit stops to follow. One more. So as things cycle through, Tony Stewart will come back around with the lead. Jeff Gordon with him. Jimmy Johnson, Michael Waltrip, Mark Martin, Kurt Busch, and Casey Kane are in the lead draft, Steve.
And Mike, they went down pit road very quickly. Tony said, keep helping this rear end of the race car, so they made another track bar adjustment. Matt.
Tony Stewart pretty much dictated that round of pit stops. Michael Waltrip was going to. Meanwhile, the 24 Jeff Gordon, told you earlier the car was tight in traffic. Slight air pressure adjustment for the 2-time Daytona 500 winner. Jenny?
As for the reigning Cup champ, Kurt Busch, car was getting tight. Got to free her up more is what he said as he made.
Let's get an update on the second place car. Here's Matt.
Jeff Gordon came on the radio 2 laps ago and said, all right, tell the 48, what does he want to do? We'll go ahead and make our move. The last lap by, he clicked back on the radio again and says, why is the 48 laying out as the caution's out for debris once again here at Daytona?
Debris in turn number 2 puts us under the caution flag. This would be, I believe, the 5th one of the day. Just after everybody's made a green flag pit stop. So 31 cars on the lead lap in the Daytona 500 and 142 laps. Stewart, that orange car on the outside, Darrell, has been strongest all day. But behind him, the Hendrick teammates, Gordon and Johnson, the Roush teammates are hooked up. And that's Martin and Busch, and all the Dodges are hooked up together. Yeah, Tony Stewart, does he have any friends?
I don't know about that, but we had some ugly restarts, and I got to believe it. Everybody knows Tony's fast. Everybody knows Jeff. I mean, you're looking at the cream of the crop right now, so you want to pick a partner here pretty soon.
About those Roush teammates, Jeannie?
Matt?
Under that caution, Jeff Gordon jumped over to Jimmy Johnson's radio frequency. They both discussed how their race cars are handling. Jimmy told Jeff how he was going to the high side into turn 1, arcing the corner, and then coming off low. Jeff said if they're going to make a move on Stewart, they're going to have to go high. They're not going to be able to do it down low. Rick Hendrick chimed in and says, you didn't come here to run second. When are you going to make your move? And Jeff said, I'm waiting for the right time. I don't want to get shuffled. You'll be the first. Wait a minute. No, you'll be the second to know when I go to make my winning move.
I'm going to tell you what, though, Matt. Jeff Gordon in that 24 car, he keeps peeking out to the outside of Tony Stewart in the 20. And Jimmy Johnson in the 48, he opened the door a while ago on the backstretch, and he lost 3 positions.
Yeah, and Jeff Gordon lost his helper. So now he's got to think about, okay, is Michael going to work with me?
That is the question.
What do you want to do? The car's running all right. Coming for 4, said Jimmy Fenning. Busch asked him, well, where do we stand on fuel from here? Well, said his crew chief, we'd be about 13 laps short. Steve?
No changes for Mark Martin in the 6. Tony Stewart got 4 tires. Matt?
Shuffling the air pressure on the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Just a slight adjustment. No changes for Michael Waltrip's team. He was talking about
Jeff Gordon's in a bad spot in that number 24. The 2-time 500 winner is behind Boris Said. One of the cars a lap down, and he's not been able to get out and move forward to the front of that pack. He's going to have to go if he's going to have a chance.
And some of these cars, they're not happy in traffic. They get back in there in all that dirty air, and they just don't run as well as they do once they get up front.
Jeff Gordon on the 24. He has his teammate Jimmy Johnson in the 48 behind him. But right now, as you say, Mike, they're bottlenecked up behind the 36. Boris says.
Saw this in the 150 with Jeff Gordon. He got back in the pack, and the first thing you know, he was bouncing off of people, and he had to back up, and he got a bad finish.
Whoa, Michael Waltrip
To his pit and just check the car, but I think that's probably pretty terminal.
24.
I believe Jeff Gordon, he's got to get up behind Tony Stewart. I don't think Mark's got a car that can really whoop out and try to take the lead. I think Mark's got a great following car. He might be in the right place as far as pushing Tony, but Jeff Gordon's got to get around Mark to get to Tony. He's got help. He's got his teammate, but Jimmy hadn't been that good.
Green flag with 35 laps to go.
And we still have 32 cars on the lead lap.
We heard Mark say in the interview early, you know, his car was a good following car, a good pusher.
His teammate Kurt Busch, 97, trying to come up and help Martin.
Now here's where, yes sir, here's where Jimmy needs to help Jeff if they're going to get to Tony. They got to get him now. I don't think they can wait.
It's Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car up the high side. He's up there in the 5th or 6th position. He's had 2 pit road speeding penalties today.
He's got Blaney with him in the 07. Squeeze playoff turn number 4.
Well, Mark Martin, the 6th, dove to the bottom, put the block on Jeff Burton in the 31 car, headed into the trioval.
His old teammate. Mark doesn't have a real fast race car. He got a good handling race car.
Michael Waltrip, 2-time Daytona 500 champion, out of the race. Matt's with him.
We've caught up with Michael Waltrip walking back to the garage area. Michael, what a great race car today. You were just sizing everybody up.
It was all about positioning throughout the middle of the race. I just followed Tony. You know, you try to make you some comrades, and he was going to be a buddy of mine. And I just couldn't wait, Matt. I just couldn't wait for those last 25 laps because it was going to get right. People in the stands are going to see a heck of a show. You can make major runs out there, and we had a car that was going to make some. And man, the Napa Auto Parts, Domino's Pizza, Best Western Oreo Cookie, Bass Pro Shops, you know all that part.
I know all that stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to mask the pain, but I can't. I mean, I'm just upset, but understanding. You know, I know we put a lot into this effort, and a lot of parts spinning around. Every now and then they break.
What part broke? Any idea in the motor?
I'm not a good analyst. I can't analyze that very well. I think it was a rod, but it might have been a crankshaft. Possibly a piston, something that really matters.
It was something very important, but thank you, Michael.
Trouble down here, guys. Jeff Gordon's doing all he can to get by Tony Stewart. Now he knows he can't wait, and he lost his running mate there. Jimmy Johnson went to the outside and fell back.
And what did Jimmy Johnson say earlier in the week? Whoever gets out in front on that last pit stop is going to be tough to pass.
Me, that's the only thing that's really ever driven me. I love the competition, but you know, it's really all about going to victory lane and celebrating with your team, and just there's no other feeling like it in the world. And I think I felt it for the first time when I was 6 or 7 years old. And that's the one thing that's always drawn me to racing and kept me interested in it for all these years, and it's the one thing that keeps me going now. And getting that victory means so much, and it's what you live for.
Jeff Gordon trying to win his 3rd Daytona 500, 30 laps to go, and before the last restart, he said this to his Hendrick teammate Jimmy Johnson.
I think the only way we're going to get them is on that outside. You know, I just want to wait as long as we can, but I understand you got to do what you got to do, and hopefully we can do it together.
Jimmy Johnson tried the outside, slipped back a spot for his trouble. And as we get set for what could be the final and most important restart of the day, do you agree, Darrell, to get Tony Stewart, you're going to have to get around the outside of him?
Well, they're not able to get him up off the bottom yet. I tell you what I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see a little nudge. He's going to wiggle, and they're going to try to get him on the inside. I don't see, unless Jimmy Johnson can get back up there and bump draft Jeff Gordon by Tony Stewart, I don't see any other way to pass him. Nobody has been able to all day.
All right, so does Jeff Gordon have an advantage running 2nd with his teammate Jimmy Johnson running 4th?
I think so. I mean, I think that's a clear-cut advantage, but you also got to look back there and realize that Kurt Busch wants to win this race just as bad as anybody else. So he's going to go where he thinks he can get to the victory lane.
Tony Stewart leading. He has not won a restrictor plate race. Jeff Gordon has 8 restrictor plate wins, leads all active drivers.
But I really think Kurt Busch, if Jeff Gordon should go to the outside, Kurt's going to fill the hole because he's got to move up 1 notch at a time. So rather than going with Jeff Gordon, which is what he should do, he'll probably plug the hole.
28 laps to go. Tony Stewart. Is he a man alone on this mission, or does he have friends? Let's find out.
Darrell, that was one of the better looking restarts that we've had all day long by all the top cars.
Yeah, they've been, you know, the front 4 or 5 have really been able to bust out every restart.
Gordon pushing Stewart around turn 2, trying to get away.
No, he's trying to get his attention. What he's trying to do is say, hey, where am I going to go next? And he's going to try to give him a wake-up call here, I think.
But look at this wad of cars back here.
Elliott Sadler's in there. He's in 13th place, and we know those Fords are fast. So there's guys back here that could make a run that we haven't even thought about.
By getting the free pass just a couple of cautions ago, and now he's up there in the top 10.
But we've seen it time, and there's a lot of racing from a 4th, 5th, 6th on back in that 10th to 12th spot. But trying to get around the guy in the front, that's going to take some real effort on Jeff Gordon's part. He's going to have to pull out all the stops.
But no matter what the outcome for our 5th place car, Scott Riggs in that 10 car, what a great run he has had all day long. He'd love to get that Daytona 500 victory and on his 2nd start.
This joint is notorious for guys that have never won a race anywhere else, winning right here.
Tony Stewart is on the Bobby Allison plan. Allison is the last driver to lead the most laps 2 years in a row. It was 1981 and 82, and in 81, Bobby Allison finally won the Daytona 500.
With that 20 car, Tony Stewart, he showed his strength early in the week, all through practice, and especially in that dual race on Thursday.
And as you can see, he's protecting the bottom, that yellow line. If somebody's going to pass me, dude, you're going to have to go below the yellow line, and then you're going to get black flag. You almost want to, if I was Tony, I'd almost want to set a guy up, kind of say, hey, why don't you try that inside?
Is it somewhat ironic that Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin are running nose to tail, 6 and 7?
I think it's pretty cool they're both that close to the front right now, because those two guys, anybody in that first 10 or 12 got a shot at this thing. And one thing they won't do, they won't step out. They'll stay in line, they'll ride the bottom.
176 laps into this race. We have the top 28 cars within 3 seconds of each other.
I'll tell you what else we got. We are running the fastest laps we've run all day by almost a half a second.
Oh, track's cooling down, motors making power, cars got good grip.
And we're coming to
Tony Stewart's last lap was his fastest lap of the day.
I guarantee you, look at these top cars. We saw that throttle graphic earlier. I guarantee you all of these will be solid green, 100% full throttle.
Who's quickest this time? Well, Brian Vickers.
There are 6 fast cars, all the same speed.
Yeah, Brian Vickers is back in 15th position.
Well, look out there. Gordon shoved up a little bit. He almost opened the bottom up for Kurt Busch.
And look who's coming on the outside. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has not led a lap all day.
Here we go. Here we go. Down into turn 3.
He's
Gordon to the outside.
Known. And up front.
Jeff Gordon has said, I got to make my move. I got to do it on the outside. But who's there to help him? Nobody.
Looked like Scott Riggs in the 10 car has Hendrick engines. He wants to jump up there and get some of this.
Jimmy Johnson did not move up with his Hendrick teammate Jeff Gordon. He stayed on the bottom and ruffled up Riggs just a bit.
He wanted to get there, but Scott Riggs in the 10 was already there.
This is just what Kurt Busch wanted to have happen. Gordon, you go the outside. I'll plug the hole. Now it's my turn to work on Stewart.
Junior alongside of Mark Martin. You're riding with Dale Jr., the defending champion of the 500.
These guys get a really good pull down the back straightaway going into turn 3. That's where they can step out sometime.
I mean, look at this. The whole field is 2 and 3 wide down the backstretch.
This is no longer a 2-horse race. It's a 2-lane race.
Boy, this is when you're sitting there thinking, what am I doing? What have I chosen the wrong line? Have I chosen the wrong partner?
Have I chosen the wrong profession?
Yeah, that too.
All I know is we got 22 laps to go, 200,000 people Nobody is sitting down here.
Let's go to Junior's pit.
It's almost always a good thing to pit the first time around. When the leaders pit, you pit with them. But the last round of pit stops, Earnhardt did not do that. He waited several laps. That put him behind, well behind all the leaders. Why did he wait? He didn't have enough gas to go all the way to the end if he had not waited. So this drive toward the front has come from deep in the pack. Nonetheless, he still is not happy with the way that car is handling, Mike.
Thanks, Dick. Kurt Busch in the 97, you saw him just launch Tony Stewart a car length out in front of the pack.
And you see what it done to Stewart. It just shot him that much further ahead. You can get to the back bumper of the guy in front of you, but boy, Jeff Gordon, I just don't think he's going to be able to make that pass on Stewart.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. at 8, he wants to go, but he's bottlenecked up. He can't go anywhere right now. He's behind that 10 car with Scott Riggs.
Tell you what I'd do if I was Jimmy Johnson. I'd do everything I could to get over there behind Jeff Gordon and bump draft him going into 3 and knock him in the lead.
Let's see if Scott Riggs allows him room to do that. He does not. Johnson's 48 on the bottom. Going to give a tap to the 97 of the Cup champion, Kurt Busch. How about Kurt Busch? 7 years ago, he was fixing water mains for the city of Las Vegas. 8 or 9 years ago, he was stocking supermarket shelves. Now he's got a chance to win the biggest stock car race in the world.
Look at him, 3 wide through the tri-oval, and Rusty Wallace in the 2, Mark Martin in the 6. They're getting up in this battle.
And Jeff Gordon is slowly falling back. I just think that outside move was a bad move on his part.
Stuck in the high lane. Jeff Gordon and the rest of that pack, they're going to have to move it on over if they're going to have a shot at Tony Stewart.
Hey, Mike, and I'll tell you who else wasn't happy about that restart is Tony Stewart. He said to his spotter, I'm not happy with the way the 24 was laying back on that restart.
Well, they're all 24's laying back. They're trying to get a run on him, and here you see him looking to the outside. He knows he's got to get him on one of these restarts if he's going to get him. And there, he had a run on him. That's what he wants to do.
The rule says you cannot pass to the inside on a restart before the green flag.
Or till you cross the start-finish line.
Jeff Gordon knows he's got to get Tony on these restarts, or at least a lap or 2 thereafter, or once they get going, I just don't think he has the steam to do it. You got to use the element of surprise here. What's he think I'm going to do? Do just the opposite.
Matt?
Mike, Jeff Gordon just said to Robbie Loomis, his crew chief, and Robbie is talking to a NASCAR official as we speak. He says, tell NASCAR to watch the 8. The 8 is laying back too much on the restarts.
Yeah, so
I didn't think the gap between Tony and the 24 was that great. It was 1 car length.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon just drove alongside of Tony Stewart. Sure, he was just giving him a little wave saying, hey, dude, wonder which way I'm going to go next.
Here it is.
2 of the best.
For the biggest single-day prize in stock car racing. Green flag.
6 to go, 6 laps.
Tony better be careful jumping out to that little lead like that. It gives you a little chance to get a run on him.
Elliott Sadler inside with a run on Blaney and plenty of help. Single file at the front.
He has help from his teammate Dale Jarrett in that 88 car.
Jeff Gordon is trying to time this pass. He's trying to make a pass. He's going to try to shove him up off the bottom. He's looking. He needs some help.
5 cars at the front.
Here he goes.
Here goes Gordon to the outside.
Is Junior going to go with him in the 8 car? Trying to make his mind up. He's going to stay with Tony Stewart. He's going to stay on the rear bumper of that 20 car.
Kurt Busch stays to the bottom. Will Jimmy Johnson help his teammate or try to get to the front on the inside?
I believe for this race, if I was Jimmy Johnson, I'd go to the outside.
Look at Junior. He slams up to the outside. He's going to take the lead with 5 laps to go.
Unbelievable. For the first time today, Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads the 500, but not for long. Here comes Stewart and a big pack on the bottom.
Boy, Junior should have dove to the bottom and closed that door up. He had the pass made.
Let's see if he can get that run off turn 2. Jeff Gordon in the 24th trying to push him. It's a drag race down the backstretch.
Oh, Jeff Gordon's car is just not performing right now like Junior's is. Tony should be a set duck. He's got 3 great cars on the outside there. Jeff giving Junior there a push? Can he push him to the lead?
This is where he got the good run a while ago, coming off turn 4. Jeff Gordon in the 24 trying to push him.
Oh, Smoker in the middle.
That's a
Casey Kane.
It's just a little fender rub back in there. I saw it earlier.
At the line, Stewart by half a car length. 4 laps to go.
Man, you can get up there even with that other guy, but you just can't get to pass me. Or can you? Yes, he made it.
Go to the bottom now. He'll slam the door.
He made it.
And this crowd is on their feet going wild.
What a pass. Way to go, Junebug.
3 wide from 11th on back.
Now what are you going to do, Tony?
Got to hug the bottom. Got to go with Dale, don't you?
That's what, I mean, he's stuck to the bottom. His car's been there all day long. There's no time to move around now.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. did not lead a lap until lap 195. Hard to believe, but he's going to be out front with 3 to go.
I guarantee he's driving out that back window as much as he is in that windshield. He slams the door on Gordon, 24, 3 to go.
That's what you do when you're in the lead. You just move around, move around.
Look at Kurt Busch in the 97, 3 wide. He's going to make the pass.
He gets by Stewart.
And here comes Gordon.
Mark Martin back at 7th, still part of the chase here.
Gordon still thinks he can make that outside car in the wall off the 2. I think it's the 9 car.
But he keeps going.
Debris all over the place.
Yep. Casey Kane bounced off the wall, turn 2.
And Jeff Gordon has made a pass.
Caution is out. The field freezes.
Caution is out.
And NASCAR scoring freezes the field at the last score.
We haven't seen him get anybody try to pass him all day other than Jeff Gordon. And we've said for a week down here, Jeff Gordon's got a fast race car. Probably the fastest car we saw in practice, and now he's showing it here at the end of the race.
Johnson behind him. Matt?
Jeff just said if he doesn't lay back, we'll do that. But what I'm concerned about is getting too good of a start and then getting too much of a gap where the other cars can make a run. Jeff's talking to crew chief Robbie Loomis right now, relaying that back and forth.
Now, Darrell, how do you get too good of a start?
Well, you get out there and you're like, we've said it all along, you're a setting duck. And that car back there, the 8 car junior, can get a big suck on you because he's got a draft on you. Come off a 2 over there, he's got such a run, you're going to have to figure out, can you block him or not?
We have 23 cars still on the lead lap, so there's no question. We could see action back there for 8th, 10th, 12th. All of these guys want this good finish in this Daytona 500.
Rick Hendrick is a car owner, first won the Daytona 500 in 1986 with Jeff Bodine. He was the winning car owner when Darrell won it in 1989, and twice since with Jeff Gordon. There is Rick Hendrick.
Well, this would be a great start on Gordon's 4th championship, or 5th championship, drive for 5. And this is, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it here. Get it started off right.
They will make one attempt at a green-white checker finish. If the caution comes out, the race is over. This is it. This is the Daytona 500 right here.
And you saw Junior jump to the outside of what I thought was a pretty fast race car down there, Tony Stewart. And that can really, if he gets up on the outside of Jeff Gordon, we got a race on our hands because they're going to come from everywhere.
Gordon's on the gas, green flag, 2 laps to settle it.
They got that fast restart. There you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes to the bottom, slams the door on Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Looks like Johnson's going to get kicked to the high side, though, by Kurt Busch in the 97.
Stewart is blocked in the 20, nowhere to go. It's Junior and Gordon.
Gordon's not going to give up that yellow line. You can bet that.
8 car with you, 2 car gap, then 2 by 2.
Now, Junior's got help. Kurt Busch. No, Busch slices to the outside. He wants to win the 500.
Coming outside.
He gives Jeff Gordon a push going off into turn 3.
Kurt Busch, the Nextel Cup champion, fights his way to 2nd.
It's a good thing he can't get any closer than that because I believe he would have probably given Gordon a big shot up the hill.
Here they come, boys. White flag, 1 to go.
Scott Riggs to 4th. Stewart looks to go 3 wide. Thinks better of it. He is trapped behind Jimmy Johnson.
Boy, that 97 car of Kurt Busch is a fast piece of equipment right there. He's got to look.
He's the only Ford in the front 5. What can he do?
Look at Scott Riggs in that 10 car. He's trying to get him a top 5 finish in this Daytona 500. And there's Jimmy Johnson on the 48 on the outside, Darrell.
Somebody needs to get up there and go with him, but I don't know if Tony Stewart can run the outside or not. He hadn't all day.
Busch to the outside. Gordon slams the door on him
have a chance to win it. Jeff Gordon's going to lead him into turn 4. They're 1 mile from home.
Tony Stewart just slid up the racetrack. He and Jimmy Johnson are going to make contact.
3 wide. They're bouncing off each other.
Jeff Gordon's going to win his 3rd Daytona 500. Kurt Busch, Dale Jr., and Scott Riggs completes a dream week with a 4th place finish.
Well, he did. And by those cars right there, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th.
Thank God, boys. How we doing it?
Boys, Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson are going at each other down there in the turn 1. They were banging all over each other.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson ended up 5th coming across the line.
You are the man.
These two guys right here, they've already rammed into each other once.
You know what? It was coming for the checkered flag for the Daytona 500.
Suck it up, big boy.
Richard Petty has won the great race 7 times. Cale Yarborough's a 4-time winner. And now,
you're the man.
Jeff Gordon joins Dale Jarrett
Time, baby.
and Bobby Allison as
Dedicate this one to the families on that crash, buddy, okay? Absolutely, absolutely.
Jeff Gordon, now a 3-time winner of the Daytona 500. And Rick Hendrick takes you back to October, Martinsville, Virginia, when a plane carrying his son Ricky, his brother John, John's 2 daughters, Randy Dorton, Jeff Turner, Joe Jackson, all aligned with the Hendrick Motorsports team, Scott Lathrop, Tony Stewart's helicopter pilot, and the 2 pilots of that aircraft crashed en route to the race at Martinsville. Darrell, there's only going to be one happy man in Daytona, and that's this man. Jeff.
Can you imagine leading the most laps of the race, got the best car all day, and get shoved back to 6th?
Dick Berggren.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a smile on your face, surprised at that, finishing 3rd. What a wild finish.
Congratulations, Hendrick Motorsports, Jeff Gordon, those guys for doing it.
Absolutely. Thank you for the time. All right.
The average speed, 135.1 miles an hour with all those caution flags, almost exactly the same winning speed of Lee Petty in 1959.
And you know what? We've been up here for like 4 or 5 hours, had a heck of a, but I wish there was a few more laps to go. I love the end of that race. That was so cool.
I don't know many of us could stand a couple of more laps to go.
Man, I love that.
Jeff Gordon rolls into Gatorade victory lane with his 70th career Nextel Cup victory.
It's all about the flames. That car runs so good when it's got those flames on it.
Painted flames, no decals.
Those are pretty flames.
The 4-time series champion notches his 70th series win. His career started November '92 in what was Richard Petty's final career race. And who would know on that day that this young man would pick up where the king left off?
I know I've told you before, but Rick Hendrick called me at the end of '92 and said, what do you think about my rookie? I said, he'll never make it. Because he had wrecked about 11 or 12, 15 times that year. I said, I don't think he's going to make it, Rick.
Well, he's made it to the head table at the Waldorf now 4 times, and now he's made it to Daytona 500 with this man, Rick Hendrick, 3 times. 4 lead changes in the last 9 laps. Wow.
Only thing would have been better, Larry, is if you was working on my car and it's me and you.
You better believe it. And Mike interviewing us, right?
That's right. I won the Daytona about. He won't do that. I know that.
He might. He has every right to.
He's calm. He's cool. He'll get out. Yeah, oh boy, oh boy.
Robbie Loomis is crew chief.
Come on out of there. Let me see you jump up and down. Let me see you do the Icky shuffle.
Let's join the celebration.
A hug by owner Rick Hendrick. With 3 laps to go, Rick Hendrick came on the radio and told you, Jeff Gordon, it was time, and you said, yes, sir, it is. How did you hold those guys off?
I tell you what, I don't know who to thank first because it was just an amazing day. First, I want to dedicate this win to all the families and you know, those who were lost in that tragic accident. You know, last year it's been a tough time, and you know, Jimmy's gotten some victories, but this one is a Daytona 500, and it just doesn't get any sweeter than this. And you know, those folks will never go out of our thoughts. But I got to thank these guys on this DuPont Chevrolet. They are so awesome. They put so much work into this car. I want to thank Pepsi, GMAC, Quaker State. It's just been Chevrolet. It's been an amazing off season. And I didn't know what the week had in store for us. I knew we had a good car. We hadn't showed everything, and you know, I knew over 500 miles that the pit crew, that team, and hopefully, you know, some patience would pay off there at the end, and it certainly did. And I'm so stoked. Daytona 500.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, when Junior went around on the outside, you came on the radio and said, imagine that, Junior passing all by himself, taking the lead. Were you concerned about your chances for victory then?
Well, let's not say I gave up, but I thought it was over. I mean, he hadn't been anywhere all day long, and then all of a sudden he came out of nowhere, and he pushed me so hard down this front straightaway when I was trying to take the lead from Tony that I knew that it was going to be impossible to keep him behind me. The best thing that happened to me was Kurt Busch. I want to thank Kurt Busch. You know, he got into me in the 150s, but we talked earlier in the day, and we knew everything was good. And by him getting by that 8 car and getting in front of him, then we just left them other guys a battle, and I just kept him in my mirror. And oh my goodness, what a just amazing day. I don't know, who did I thank? GMAC? Who else?
Well, everybody dreams of winning this race. Jeff Gordon's not done it once, not twice, but 3 times. He's a winner of the Great American Race, giving owner Rick Hendrick his 5th Daytona 500 victory. And there's Steve Berge. 6 months ago, Mike Joy, he sat down with a piece of paper, came up with 28 different things that he wanted the Hendrick guys to try on this race car, and they did it. It's now going to go to Daytona, USA.
How many headlines tomorrow across America will start out, I am so stoked, the Daytona 500.
And it doesn't matter how good you are, you still are always amazed that you won the Daytona 500.
There are more great stories. Sterling Marlin finishing 8th, Kevin LePage 9th, and we'll talk to Tony Stewart when we return to Daytona.
Show brought to you by Nextel. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed. Back live at Daytona, Chevy congratulates Jeff Gordon and the 24 DuPont Chevy Monte Carlo on today's win. The defending manufacturer's champion records so far, 557th win overall. Chevy, the revolution races on, and Jeff Gordon gets it.
Hey, boys, we got him! Daytona 500! Woo-hoo-hoo! You guys are awesome!
An excited 33-year-old Jeff Gordon, a long way from Indiana, his 70th career win, his 3rd Daytona 500 title. This is a guy who, back in high school, he was voted the prom king. The day of his graduation, got his diploma, changed into his racing gear so he could go to a dirt track and enjoy racing. Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace do finish in the top 10. We'll talk with Kurt Busch in a moment as Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon celebrate Gordon's win. Tony is easily accessible. We'll address that as well when we come back on Fox. Gordon with an exciting 4 lead changes in the last 9 laps of the 47th running of the Daytona 500. Pulls into victory lane. Right behind him, Kurt Busch, and he's with our Dick Bergman.
Like the drivers do. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Tony Stewart leading the most laps for the 2nd straight Daytona 500, but that man, Jeff Gordon, the winner, you'll probably see him with Regis and Kelly live soon. He's filled in on that. And how about the finish? Gordon, Junior, and Stewart. I mean, you can't ask for better drivers battling at the end of this great race.
It was an exciting...